here to share information and resources to help you get started with building wealth. And before we get started, as always, I want to go ahead and punch in my website so you'll know how to get in touch with me and take a look at my site. Maybe there's something I can help you with. Maybe there is some section in my blog that kind of speaks to you. I cover a lot of different topics, and so maybe that is something that can help you kind of get past this roadblock or whatever is kind of stopping you from being financially successful. But a lot of good stuff on there, and if you need to reach out to me, there's a contact spot at the end of the bottom of the page, and you can reach out and get in touch. So the topic for this session is Undercover Boss. So over the weekend, I was watching some TV while I was exercising, and the show Undercover Boss, if you're not familiar with it, it takes famous people, celebrities, put them undercover, and they end up giving people like money and stuff at the end. And I was thinking, this is interesting, right? So I was watching the episode with Gabby Douglas, the gold medalist Olympian, and she was, visiting different gymnastic centers and parents who have children who are in gymnastics, and they're going through the whole story, and it's good for TV, right? Like, Gabby's famous. She can probably help all these people out with their gymnastic skills. And then at the end, they give them a gift of some sort. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's cars, sometimes it's just connections. And so on this one, and this kind of got me thinking about why what I do is very important in terms of trying to help people to build wealth, create generational wealth, to help disrupt generational poverty. Because some of the gifts that were given, and I know it's for TV, so bear with me here. It's good for TV, but they're getting checks for like $5,000 and $10,000 to pay for stuff. And I'm like, what? $5,000? And these people were like, they would cry and they were like, oh, this is life changing. And I'm like, for $5,000? Look, I get it. I get it. $5,000 is going to help for these kids to go to some of these competitions. And I get the whole, it's for TV, right? But it got me thinking, like, if money isn't important, tell to those people who got these checks. So the one lady gets like $5,000 to take her son to, different gymnastic competitions, because I think every kid in the story, they missed out on some competition because the parent or parents couldn't afford to take the kid, like couldn't pay the registration fee. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you had some real wealth, that fee wouldn't be a problem. Your kid would have been at that event. Another lady needed a car because she was like, I always have to rent a car because my car was trash. And so, I think Gabby gave her some money down for a new car. And so I think she gave like $10,000. This other family got like 15. But all I'm thinking about is the dollar amounts they're throwing around. The people's reaction were very telling of why I believe that wealth is important. Because I know $5,000 made a big difference in that one family's life. That $15,000 made a difference in the other family's life. But, and this is just me, 15 million is life changing. Like, I'll cry if you give me 15 million. Like 5,000, I'm probably gonna say thank you, but I'm not gonna be crying. There's not being dramatics. And what it got me thinking is that people who don't come from wealth sometimes this is the most money they've ever been gifted, or maybe they haven't earned that much money ever. And so it is overwhelming when you don't come from a wealthy family or a wealthy background. And it got me thinking that I want to do more to push people to really try to create a legacy for their families, because all the families in the story, it was all the same story. We work hard and we work overtime, and our jobs will only pay us but so much. And yet they love their children. And I think most people will do anything for their kids. And one of the biggest reasons that some kids can't have, I'll say, a full life is because the parents don't have enough money. Straight up. Again, these parents are getting emotional and crying over $5,000 and $10,000. I'm like, let's add a few more zeros and then I'll start crying. Like, I think it's still a great gesture that they do this. And shout out to Gabby for helping out these kids. And I hope that was like the beginning of their kind of journey to like financial greatness. Like, if somebody got you this gift, how much harder would you work if money wasn't an issue? Like, I think about parents who, they want to send their kid to that school of choice, but they can't afford it. So they know student loans may be the only route. But what if money wasn't an option? Your kid could go to that school and enjoy college. They can enjoy that experience because they're not worried about how they're going to pay for their books, room and board, for food. Like, I think it's great that some kids go to school and can just be a student and can party their ass off and they can just have fun and enjoy that time versus the others who they got to work, they got to get an internship, it's something they got to do just to stay in school. And I think they have a different outlook on college and the college experience versus wealthy kids who just go and they can be free thinkers. They're not really stressing over a test or failing a class because it's not the end of their world. And that's what that show brought to me. You know, Undercover Boss, I love the premise. I love these shows that show millionaires and successful people giving back. But it also lets me know that more people need to talk to me. Like, more people need to holler at Mr. BuildWealth or their local financial planner or advisor or insurance agent or real estate person. Like, we just got to do more in terms of trying to build wealth for our families. So you're not going crazy over $5,000 or $10,000. Like, again, I'm not crying if you cut me a check for $10,000. Like, I already know what I would do with the money, first off. But two, it's not going to be, I would say, life altering. It may help me get through a moment in time. But if we're talking 10 million, yeah, I'm going to cry, I'm going to hug you, I'm going to kiss on you. Like, I'm really going to be grateful. But again, I think some of these people just, because we don't understand wealth, it is kind of earth shattering when somebody gives a smaller token of appreciation. And so I just want us to kind of set the bar a little bit higher. But I enjoy these shows. Like, I watch them, they're sentimental, but it makes me want to work harder to help people out, to challenge these families that I talk to who just aren't doing what they're supposed to do, who have their financial priorities out of whack. Like, that's what these shows do. It gives me more fuel. Like, I'm going to disrupt generational poverty for all of my clients if they just listen. Just listen. Maybe you're not doing everything with me, but again, I don't want you to have to tell your kid they can't go to that competition or they can't play, a certain sport because it's too expensive. Like, I hate when parents say that. And I understand that everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. So let's rule that out of the equation. Maybe you need to be more mindful of your spending habits to find that extra dollar. A lot of people don't want to make those short-term sacrifices to free up some money. So look, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I wanted to talk about Undercover Boss because I just watched it over the weekend. Again, shout out to Gabby Douglas and all the celebrities, who go out here and do some good. And I think cutting those checks is by all means is great. Like, I'm glad they do it because they got the money. And what you realize is, it's not about the money for them either. Like, they just know they have so much success that they're willing to share. And I think most people want to be charitable and they want to give. But when you ain't got it, you can't give shit. So let's get our money up so we can do more for our families, more for our charities, more for our philanthropic desires. Let's do more. Let's do a little bit more. So if you can't figure out your situation, just hit me up. Go to the BuildWealthMovement.com, schedule a 15-minute phone call with me. Let me help you get unstuck. Let me help shed some light on what you should be doing and not what you think you should do. This isn't brain surgery. It's just, I'm going to listen to what you say with both of these ears. And when something doesn't equate in my brain, like this financial expert brain, if it doesn't make sense to me, I got to share it with you and then see what you do with the information. So hit me up if I can help you out in any way. And as always, I'm not hard to find, but you've got to take that step. And maybe that first step is scheduling this 15-minute phone call with me or visiting my website and reading some of my articles and blog posts or looking at some of my videos. I don't care what you do, but you got to do something different. So that way we're not going crazy over a $5,000 check. All right? So I'll catch you all next time.